right near the County Line Road or Palmer Divide Road in 83. And I wanted to see that, or I was given the information that this would be the advisory committee for a upcoming road up to that location. Is that correct?
Unfortunately, I feel like I don't know if anyone else heard it that way. I feel like his phone cut out at just a certain minute. Would you mind repeating yourself? I know you're on your cell phone.
Yeah. My name is Craig Erie. I live at 15887 El Dorado Way, and that is right near Palmer Divide Road in 83, County Line in 83. Did that come across okay?
Yes.
Yeah. I was given the information that this would be a chance for me to voice any concerns I have on an upcoming roundabout project. And I wanted to make sure that I'm in the right spot, right location.
Yeah, I think potentially. I think we have, and Gail, you might know if this is I think that's a joint CDOT and perhaps El Paso County or City of Colorado Springs involved.
City of Colorado Springs is not involved in that project. It's my understanding it's being led by CDOT and that they're going through that roundabout design as the speaker mentioned, but I was under the impression they did not have construction funding. So I'm hoping there's somebody from CDOT or if there's any collaboration with El Paso County, they can more appropriately address his concerns.
You're correct. I talked to Ms. Pepper from CDOT, also the engineers. There was a meeting at a local school a couple weeks ago. We had about 40 people, the news, and we had a chance to voice our concern. However, it was short. And then what I was told is you guys are the advisory committee that talked to the board of directors that could potentially fund or not fund that project. And I only found out through kind of digging and kind of getting, pushing my way into like, hey, who do I need to speak to? Who's the stamping authority on that? I wanted to speak about that if I can, because that's where I live. That's my neighborhood. In the picture that they show for that construction, my house is actually in that overhead view. So it directly affects me and my property line. Unfortunately, my neighbor who even lives closer can't make it today because this is working hours. And I just found out about this meeting yesterday when I got a call from one of the office reps.
Okay.
But I concerns, and hopefully somebody could hear hear our concerns and what I can do to make it, I guess visible if I need to start a petition or what. I'm against the roundabout. I've got my pros and cons. And I just kind of want to let you guys know about that. We live there every day. We drive it multiple times a day. And the thought of a roundabout there just makes me actually kind of sick to my stomach. I know engineers can say, I've got their paperwork here. It's a 75% reduction in crash, but just looking at their paperwork, if it doesn't even warrant the temporary stoplight that they have for the gap construction because of lack of traffic, why would we put a $5 million roundabout, give or take $5 million per the engineers? I've lived there since 2017, back when there was a stop sign going east to west. And I would love for that to go back to that way. Take the lights out, make it a little bit darker. There's not enough traffic. Right now at that stoplight, trucks jake brake consistently. It shakes my house. It shakes, and I can't enjoy the evening, right? When that light is red, those trucks, they jake brake, and they jake brake with no loads. They drake brake with loads, and they accelerate. And I have to hear those diesel motors power through their gears all the time. And that's just the noise, right? But that doesn't necessarily have any safety. But when I'm talking about a roundabout at 7,200 feet in elevation, you've got potential for rollovers. Those trucks going north, some of them will head westbound and have to do a 270-degree turn around that roundabout with ice and snow, heavy loads, because they're avoiding the way station on I-25. I see it all the time. State Patrol has to put up a checkpoint there time to catch these truckers, if that's really what they're doing. But you're going to have rollovers. You're going to have diesel fuel spillage. You're going to hazmat spillage. It's going to be a disaster with wind, fog, rain. That intersection in itself is an entire different beast. We get fog, we get winter squalls there. And it has shocked me. I've lived all over the country in the Marine Corps, and where I live here, this is probably the worst weather I've had to deal with outside of Maryland, Florida, Hawaii. It is terrible there. And putting a roundabout, even with a lot of warning signs, it's just a bad idea for a couple months of the year. And I don't think that it's going to prevent accidents. I think it's going to create accidents. Point being, I was going to that meeting. Somebody stopped in the middle of a roundabout and backed up almost into me. And there was, I mean, it's not even a highway. So putting a high speed, 60 miles to 20 mile an hour, roundabout, you're going to have vehicles blow through there. You're going to have DUI drivers blow through there. You're going to have rollovers. How the snow plows are going to mitigate ice, I don't know, because it has raised partitions for channeling. Well, now you're going to have melting snow. The sun's not going to get to it. And it's just a disaster with these oversized trucks. So I kind of have a list. I apologize if I'm going over it, but I have the Jake brakes, the engine noise. It's a lot now. If there's a roundabout, it'll be 24/7. My community has about 35 homes. The other community has about 80 homes. There's another plot of farmer's land that's selling that's going to be some more acreage homes. So there's going to be a lot more homes there, but it's just going to be 24/7. Vehicle lights. Right now, any vehicle turning eastbound from going north, that goes into my house, and I have to keep my blinds shut. It's not. Yeah, go for it.
Tell me your first name again. I didn't catch it when you first started.
My name is Craig.
All right, Craig. Hey, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
CDOT traffic is on the line, and I'll just kind of clarify because I understand this is a very passionate topic for you.
Absolutely.
Yes, and Pepper was correct in sending you our way for when the project is requesting funding. This is the group that would yay or nay the funding. As
so
was communicated. What was that?
It's you guys, not the board of directors?
We make a recommendation to the board on whether or not to fund it. And the board, I wouldn't want to say all the time, but generally agrees with when the TAC makes a recommendation. However, what I would suggest, it sounds like you still have some concerns that need to be addressed. And Adam Lancaster, absolutely. And I see Matt Jagow's with him too. Those are two Region 2 traffic engineers. Adam, I don't know if you could get Craig's information, if you guys could schedule a meeting with him and follow up and hear some of his direct concerns and address that with him. That probably would be more appropriate at this point because you still, Craig, I think you still have some design questions, some geometry questions, and some function questions. This, like I said, this committee wouldn't get the request until all of that has been resolved and there's community buy-in potentially, and then they come asking for the funding.
Yeah, Craig, do you have access to the chat for the meeting?
This chat?
Yeah.
Like in chat? I'm trying.
In Zoom, Craig, if you can private chat.
Or
maybe
just
Adam, maybe you should try to chat his iPhone and see if that would just work. Yeah, you can see him in the chat, so you could put your phone number in it to his iPhone 433. And he should see it.
Okay. Yeah, because if you can give me your contact info. No, it's, yeah, okay, I see him in the list. Okay, I'll shoot him a message real quick and get his contact info.
Can I ask a question, Bill, before we move on from the speaker?
Sure, Gail.
So later on, we're going to be looking at a TIP amendment, mostly with CDOT. I think it's all CDOT information. There's a project on their 25 list that's State Highway 83 passing lanes, milepost 28 to 30. I think the location that the speaker's talking about is in proximity to milepost 30. One, I'm asking CDOT, is that correct? And two, does that project include the roundabout speaker's talking about?
Give me a second. I'm bringing up. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, Matt.
Go ahead.
The 385 passing lanes is between mile marker 28 and 30. It does not include the roundabout at County Line Road.
Okay.
and we're strictly, this is a project that's been on the list, but due to, and which I can go into more detail later on, but due to funding shortfalls based on predicted revenue for our faster safety mitigation program, we've had some cuts that were impacted our planning for projects, so we've had to make adjustments. So that's what these kind of updates are, is just updating Pueblo cog for those projects in that area that we're moving money money to later years to get ourselves back in balance due to our fiscal constraints. So, but that is one of the projects that I was going to be updating about, that we were updating the Pueblo cog, and I guess as through that is your guys, that is one of the projects we're asking to delay and push the money back further to help us balance out our faster shortfalls.
So-
When you say delay, I'm sorry, Joel.
No, go ahead, Gail, please.
When you say delay, you're talking about delaying the passing lane project, which these roundabouts were not part of.
No, I'm just talking is moving the money that's available that we have planned and programmed to later fiscal years. Based on the plan, I don't know how much it will add in any further delay as far as construction. It's just moving out to a later fiscal years to help me to balance my faster safety program, so we get back into balance, because right now we're over programmed given the revenue shortfalls.
Okay, so now I have a somewhat similar but different question, if that's okay, Mr. Chair.
Gail.
So the work that's been happening on this roundabout project thus far, I don't know that I've seen it on the tip. How is that being funded? And if it's on the tip, what is it?
It's been on the tip. It's been around for quite a while, and it's been funding by, it's called our Highway Safety Improvement Program. It's hazard elimination funding. It was programmed earlier in probably 21 or 20, but because of for budget estimates and everything else, and funding concerns, we've continually updated the tip to move the funding available for that project for later fiscal years. We currently have it right now, money for that roundabout programmed in FY23, this current fiscal year.
And what is that money for? Is it just for the design?
No, it's for design and full construction, but we are probably short given the construction estimates that I've been made aware, being as asset manager for highway safety improvement program funding and our faster safety program.
So I think in what, Gail, you're getting to, Matt, as of now, there's not any identified funding for the roundabout.
No, we have funding. We have some of it, but there's a funding shortfall.
So the sum of it you have, what fiscal year is that programmed in?
FY23.
Okay. And then how much of a shortfall is there right now?
I don't know, because I haven't seen the latest estimates from John Hall. So
Will, and then Gail, to finish your thought, if I can, to finish this, then if you are submitting the tip amendment, you're moving projects further into the tip because there isn't quite enough money.
I'm moving projects that are faster safety funded, not HSIP.
Oh,
I am addressing projects that are funded out of our faster safety mitigation program. Because of COVID and other projected revenues, the revenues that we typically have usually seen across our region, our usual allocation, they have come in shortfall. So every region had to take a deduction in our allocation for that program, which has caused us in the region, because of trying to still get projects out, and rebalance our projects because we're over programmed, and given that these have to be tipped and stipped, that puts us against unconstrained and creates an issue. So I'm trying to get this. That's what we've been working with Wendy and PPACG with, along with the other TPRs and PPACG, to get us back within fiscal constraints.
And I guess maybe then I've got a different question, and I'm not sure if it's John Leosados or someone else from CDOT. So I did find that this is a project on the tip, but doesn't have a tip number. It looks like it was pulled off the LRTP. It does have that number, and it says the funding type is to be determined. If we wanted to open it up or have further discussions on the prioritization of this project and funding, what would be the mechanism?
Well, the first thing is we cannot take action on anything under the call to the public, right? Normally they're allowed 3 minutes. They get to say whatever they want. And you guys aren't really supposed to interact. That being said, it is also for items not on the agenda. So I think it was very appropriate to make sure that this item was or was not on the agenda. So from that perspective, that was cool. So if we are clear that the TIP amendment that is in play right now does not include this roundabout, then we would ask CDOT to bring it back at a later date and where we could discuss it.
Okay.
If it is part of this, then this conversation needs to take place under the TIP amendment. So I'm battling head cold, so hopefully that all made some sort of sense.
Matt, what milepost is this intersection where the roundabout is?
It's I'd have to double check and look. Give me a second.
It looks to me from the map, Mr. Chair, that it's at 30.21.
Okay. So it's officially not in this TIP amendment, which Matt, you're confirming, right? This is just past the potential roundabout.
The passing lanes?
Yeah, that milepost 28 to 30.
The passing lanes are not involved with the roundabout. They are outside that project limits.
Okay, so then John, to that point, we clarified that this issue is not regarding an existing agenda item.
Right. So at that point,
We can note the,
but Craig needs to be allowed to sort of finish his 3 minutes. And while he did have a while there, I'm sure it wasn't really an uninterrupted 3 minutes. So it'd probably be appropriate, let him to finish up his thoughts in a few minutes. But then I would really strongly suggest folks from CDOT get in contact with him and chat this through so that we can have a better idea of what's going on. And so then we definitely will know when it comes through for any sort of funding. That being said, ultimately the project solutions or the method by which any jurisdiction, CDOT, Colorado Springs, El Paso County, chooses to approach a project is usually not in the purview of PPACG. We don't micromanage our jurisdictions, right? So if what comes in is we want to do X and this is how much it's going to be. And if you feel that the roundabout is not the appropriate way to move forward at that point, you would recommend that it not be approved. So, but like I said, that would be down the line. So again, hopefully CDOT can reach out to Craig and get this sorted out. But for now, Dole, it probably would be appropriate to let Craig finish his thought in 1 or 2 minutes, and then we can proceed with the meeting.
Craig, it's all yours.
Before we move forward, I just want to add something just to tell you all that the money was programmed in 2022 to do the design work. And that did go as a TIP amendment to PPACG.
Thank you, Wendy. All right, Craig.
All right. Like I heard that, so I'll be quick and brief. I just got some questions. Obviously, I'm against it. I know a lot of all my neighbors are that I've talked to. Unfortunately, only 40 some people could make it to the original meeting where we did talk to CDOT. And the problem with that is to us and the neighbors and the residents, it feels like it falls on deaf ears, right? This is their project. They want it done. They want it completed. I can understand that, but they don't live there. They don't see the weather. Yeah, we have the data that they give us. They can tell us the amount of trucks, but they're really not telling us, the weight of the trucks. I see rollovers almost every day at work. And we have all these concerns. I guess my question is, what would it take to, I guess, get this project canceled? I think I kind of heard say it would take an unanimous vote by you guys, but a petition, is there going to be another meeting? I strictly found out about this meeting because of my perseverance speaking to Ms. Pepper. But unfortunately, some of my neighbors, they don't have the time off that I might have to do this. So I would love to talk to somebody further about it, express our pros and cons, right? I mean, I have a daughter that she's going to be driving in 15 years. That's some time. But yeah, I want safe roads. Obviously, I see accidents every day. But there is a heavy, I'd say the balance ways that like the residents don't want that to happen. So I just want to make sure that we don't just get pushed off to another CDOT engineer or an employee says, yeah, hey, we'll listen to you. But really, if it's you guys that are doing the rubber stamping and giving the approval, we want you guys to hear what we have to say, our reasonings. It does get heated. So, unfortunately, that's where we live and that's where we want it, we want it to be safe. So I've got that message from that gentleman. I'll be in contact with him. But I just wanted to thank you guys again for letting me speak. I apologize. This is at the wrong time, but I'll get in contact with that gentleman from CDOT. But thank you for giving my 1 to 2 minutes. I appreciate that. I probably went over that.
No worries, Craig. This is America. Everybody gets to speak. So, and again, if you find that you're not having success with the CDOT, let us know. I think you've reached out to Jared once before. Let Jared know, and we'll go. But for now, I think we've got a path forward, and I'm sure the folks from CDOT, now that you're with the right folks, will hopefully give you some resolution.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Dole, you're on mute. We haven't got to say that in over a year.
I know better than that, goodness. And then Craig, do you have, or Adam, do you have Craig's phone number? Can we just confirm that you guys have the right contact information for each other?
No, I didn't get any contact info yet from in the chat.
Craig, do you know how to work that chat? Because I messaged you too. I don't know if you're able to, I know you're on your phone and it makes it a lot more difficult than in front of a computer. I don't know if there's a way for us to privately get a phone number from him, from you, Craig, and not share it with the group. He might be typing now. Okay.
I'll just say, Mr. Chair, if you can't hear us, if you can just email us at ppacg@ppacg.org. That might be the easiest way rather than trying to navigate the chat function.
Okay.
We can get it routed correctly from there.
Okay, Jared. All right, Craig, I hope you heard that. Thank you for your comments. Let's get back to the agenda. Are there any other public comments that anyone would like to make that of an item not on the agenda? Okay. Let's move on to approval of October 20th meeting minutes. I hope everyone's had a chance to review them as appropriate. And if there aren't any comments on that, I welcome a motion to get those approved.
Mr. Chair, it's Gail Sturtevant. I move approval of the minutes as published.
Thank you, Gail. We have a motion. We need a second.
This is Brian. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes, as Gail mentioned, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed, say nay. All right, minutes approved. John, Board of Directors report, please, sir.
So we have a brief Board of Directors report. They met in Park County this time. So the great traveling road show continues. And so, hey, Craig, we just got your contact information in the chat. So you've made contact. So back to the Board of Director meeting. Really the only item of interest for the transportation point of view was the tip amendment. And we want to point out that the tip amendment that you approved had the El Paso County item, as well as a few of the CDOT items. When it went to the CAC, I was there for part of the CAC meeting, and they were kind of going down into a deep dive on the legislative stuff. But I figured, hey, this is an easy tip amendment. I don't need to say, so I left. So Danelle, you might need to jump in here. But the CAC was like, well, we have lots of questions on all the CDOT stuff. And we're like, well, that's on John, because John didn't invite CDOT. And that is on me. I should have invited CDOT, but I really thought it was kind of a slam dunk. But anyway, on more of a process approach, they were like, well, if no one from CDOT's here to answer our questions, we don't want to move those forward. So of the items in the CAC agenda, only the CDOT item moved forward and was approved. So I tell you that as part of the board report, but also to tell you that in the future, if this is the CAC makeup we have, you guys, if you have an item that is time sensitive, that is going to the CAC, you either want to make sure that we as PPACG staff understand everything there is to know about it, or you might want to attend the CAC meeting. You know, the sort of the personality of committees change over time as they have people come in and out. And so I think for the next year or so under this CAC membership, we're definitely going to see some more folks having questions that they haven't in the past. So again, first off, my apologies to CDOT. I really thought it was a perfunctory sort of tip amendment. It didn't change any projects. It just moved some of the money around. So I didn't understand why there was such an issue, but there was. Happy to answer any questions about the CAC meeting or the board meeting. And Danelle, feel free to jump in if I slaughtered that. Says again, I just got a whole brain full of snot at this point.
You did not. Do you want to mention the regional freight study that we talked about with Jason earlier today, and the TAC involvement?
Yeah, I thought we were going to do that under another item, but we can do that now. And any other questions about the border or CAC? If not, hey, Jason, you want to turn your microphone on? This is a little bit of an aside, folks, but this is probably the best place to put it now that Danelle mentions it. We've got a freight study kicking off.
John, before you move on,
Sure.
this is Wendy. I will make sure that it's understood that someone needs to be at the meeting for the CAC. Unfortunately, I couldn't be in two places at once, and I was in Lamar the day that meeting took place. So I will make sure as we move forward that staff is at the meeting to cover the different amendments, because you're right. I mean, you shouldn't have to invite CDOT. If we have an agenda item, it should be something that we're aware of and that we're on top of, to know that we have to be there to answer questions. So I will make sure that that information gets sent out to staff and that everybody's on the same page moving forward. So our apologies for the extra work it takes to be able to come back and have to do things twice.
Yeah, no problem, Wendy. Hey, Jason, quick, put the freight item in here before anybody notices we're slipping it in.
Okay, that sounds good. Can you hear me all right? It's just a real quick little 30-second thing. So I gave an update, an information item at the previous meeting about the freight study, just kind of what it's about. And now that we're getting ready to start on the procurement process, I wanted to ask TAC if anybody has any interest in being a part of the selection committee or helping to steer the project, or both. I don't think it would be a super huge time commitment. So I was just going to put it out there informally and see if anybody wanted to participate in that. It would be nice to have somebody from TAC, but So that's all. Anybody can shout out now or email me later or say something in the chat if you're interested.
Okay, thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
John, are you continuing on your board of directors report, or are we ready to move on to our first action item?
I'm sorry, yes, we are complete. In fact, we did the board report plus a little extra, so we're ready to move to action items.
Okay. Let's move on to the TAC officer elections. As you guys all know, it's that time of the year to nominate and elect officers for 2023. I actually missed this meeting last year, so I'm actually not sure, John, on how that meeting's how this topic's supposed to go.
Right, so, and again, I've been sick, so my head's not working. I don't believe there is a, can you scroll down a little bit? Is there there's no, what do you call it when you can't do it more than once?
Term limit?
Yeah, there's no term limit on this, right?
Our TAC bylaws state that you cannot be an officer. You can't be in the same position 2 years in a row. Or
Right, so
I'm
how
sorry,
long-
more than 2 terms. I'm sorry.
All right, how long have you been doing this, Dole?
2 years.
2 years? All right, so that means we need.
I'm out.
We need to have a nomination for a chair and then a vice chair. Our current vice chair is Jason. So Jason, if you want to just let everybody know, you've been training for this your whole life and you're ready to step up.
I would rather not yet step up.
Okay.
I still feel like I have a lot to learn and I'm not quite ready to take on that lead, but I am still happy to be first chair or second chair. I've only been first chair 1 year, so, and that 2 years ago I was the second chair. So I'm happy to do either one of those, or I'm happy just to step out. So it's whatever, but I'm not quite ready to be chair yet. I don't feel quite comfortable to have that responsibility quite yet.
All right, so at this point, Dole, you would open the floor for nominations for chair. And this is when either someone steps up and decides they want to do it, or we all look at the screen to see who's not here to defend themselves and they get nominated.
All right, let's open that up. Do we have any nominations for someone that would like to serve in that capacity as I guess we'll start with the chair position.
I'd like to throw Gail under the bus and see if she'd like to be our chair.
Hey, no bus jokes.
Or under the bus jokes, yeah.
Yeah,
All right, let's go on the pipeline.
yeah, I would second Victoria's nomination of Gail.
Well, thank you, you two. I appreciate your confidence. I would be welcome to entertain if other folks were interested in the position.
All right, Dole, you wait like 3 seconds, counting 1 Mississippi, and then if you don't hear any other
Going once.
you move to
Gail, I know we're all kind of jesting, but are you okay with that role for 2023? I know you are busy.
I would be comfortable moving into this in 2023. If you'd asked me last year, the answer would have been completely different, but things are shaping up differently after the PPRTA ballot last week.
Great.
So
okay.
Dole, Robert's Rules of Order says you have to ask for a motion to close the nominations. Somebody moves and seconds, and then you all vote, and then you have your slate, and then you vote on that, and then you move to the next office.
Okay, thanks, John. There's always so many rules. All right, let's take a motion to close the nomination period then for the chair position.
Victoria, so moved.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
This is Brian, I'll second.
Okay, thanks, Brian. We have a motion and a second to elect Gail as the 2023 chairman of the TAC. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Congratulations, Gail. the new 2023 TAC.
So now you
Chairman.
Being
so now you
still,
move to the first chair. I'm sorry.
Right.
And you've already, like I said, you've already got Jason, who only has 1 year under his belt, so he can continue if somebody wants to nominate him.
I'll nominate Jason for a second year.
Okay. Do we have a second? Okay. we have a nomination and a second. Jason, for you to continue as the first chair.
That's fine with me. That's fine with me. If you guys want to have me again, if I didn't mess everything up.
Thank you, Jason. All right. All those in favor of.
I'll move to close the nominations.
Oh, that's right, Victoria. Thank you. Do we have a second for that? Do we have a second to close the nomination?
Yeah, I seconded. Sorry. I think
Okay. So we've closed the nomination. Now we can vote. So now we need John, now we need a motion to confirm Jason as the first chair.
Right, yeah, go ahead and
Yes.
vote.
Okay.
All in favor of Jason?
Do we have a motion to confirm Jason as the first chair?
this is Gail sort of move that we confirm. I think we were at a vote though, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes.
Okay, so hold on. So you have to open it up, make a recommendation, nomination, that person accepts. Then you have to close the nomination. Then you have to do a motion to close the nomination and a second, right? Do you have to vote to close the nomination?
Right, you guys did vote, you closed the nominations, now you just have to vote for them.
Okay, goodness. All right, all those in favor of continuing to have Jason as our first chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Okay, Jason, you continue to get to be the first chair. Thank you.
And now
All right,
you need
thanks. Thank you,
Now
guys.
what was that, John?
now you need a second chair in case.
Yep. Now let's open up the nomination window for the second chair. Anyone interested in nominating yourself or someone next to you on the screen?
Someone not here. Oh,
Geez, where's Brandy when we need her?
Anyone from CDOT interested? Are they able to be? They're not actually on the TAC, are they?
I don't remember what we went down this road once before and there was an issue with it about.
Well, I'll tell you what then, I'll pivot. I'm going to make a nomination for Ben Schmidt from Woodland Park. I think it's a good opportunity, Ben, for you to kind of get in there and learn. And as second chair, you only really get engaged if the first two are unable.
Sounds good. Thanks for your faith in me, Dole.
All right, Ben, and with that exception, any other comments on that?
I'll move to close nominations.
I'll second it.
Okay, let's vote on that. All those in favor of having Ben be the second chair, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed, say nay. All right, Ben, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, going on to our next agenda topic. It's a big one. Danelle, if you want to lead us through this tip amendment.
Okay. And I apologize, in your packet, I just realized that one of our attachments got out of alignment. But hopefully you were able to look through everything. As John mentioned earlier, the large portion of this tip amendment you did see last month. And we're bringing it back as part of this tip amendment because it was easier for transparency to combine it in one tip amendment with this new request and move it through the committees. So the new part of this tip amendment that you have not seen is an adjustment for this reconciliation right here. It's the last piece of your agenda item here. So basically this removed some funding from the US 24 East Mobility Safety Improvements Project. And as the letter in your packet notes, that it is anticipated that this reduction in funds will be covered by other projects along that US 24 corridor. It moves that money to the State Highway 21 at Palmer Park and Constitution, and State Highway 24 at Academy Park Loop signal replacements project. It also adjusts the signal pool funds to that signal replacements project. And that is a net, the net effect of that is a decrease of $49,000. Wendy or CDOT, if you want to chime in on the details of that and why that money's being moved around, that would be great. Or if anybody has any questions on this piece or the other CDOT changes that you did see last month.
So Adam is online to talk to the details of the project, Janelle.
Perfect. Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, I can't speak too much to the money side of things, but I have Matt here with me. If there's any questions about the project itself and what we're doing there, so it is the 3 signals. 2 of those are on 21, and the other one is on 24 at Academy Park, as she mentioned. Essentially, it's replacing all three locations. We're replacing old span wire signals with mast arms, and then we're making a whole slew of ADA compliant improvements. And then also adding another big thing for that is we're also adding an extended acceleration lane southbound at Constitution. So that's the projects. My understanding is we're needing the 500,000 fiscal year 21 RPP funds, and then 500,000 fiscal year 22 is my understanding. And then the rest of that's all going to be SGA funding, right, Matt?
Yeah. So in order for when the project went to advertisement, we used funding from another project out of our SGA pool to allow the project to go to ad. We were not quite at full budget to what the cost estimate. In order to advertise the project, we needed to add those additional funds. Given that we've found and we got a concurrence within CDOT out of our northern program about using the available 500,000 additional RPP safety money that's available for the 24 quarter, which this project addressed because it is also a single placement, a safety project because of that. Acceleration lane that is at Constitution is deficient. It's not up to current standards. So with this, we are moving in the necessary RPP money and a little bit more of SGA money that's currently I had from another project that was in the Pueblo Cog area. Savings from that project, we're moving that into this project, and then I'm debudgeting balance of the money I added in from another single project and another area outside of this COG area to put money back in that project so we can go to construction on that project. So that was the 184,000 or almost 185,000 was from a prior completed signal project in this area. The RPP money, the 500,000, then I'm pulling out a balance of the FY24 money to put back towards that other project that I borrowed against.
Does anyone have questions for CDOT? I don't see anybody any hands, so.
So we need this agreement in order to be able to award the project and move forward with construction.
All right, if there's no questions for CDOT on this, then we can take this to a motion.
Hey, I'm sorry, Dole, one quick question. You know, I always have to throw it in.
Oh, that's fine, Victoria.
Does moving this funds off of 24 East delay the design for the widening from Garrett to Woodman Road?
I don't believe so, Victoria. I'm not involved in that project to know.
According to Shane, Matt is right, Victoria, it doesn't have any bearing on it.
Okay, awesome. That's what I needed.
No
Move
problem.
approval.
Okay, we have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
This is Jason. I'll second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving this tip amendment, please say aye.
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 Gail, I'm assuming you said aye, even though you're muted.
Yes, I said aye, but I forgot to unmute.
I saw your mouth move. Anyone opposed, please say nay. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Let's continue on. Looks like Danelle, you get to talk about the UPWR program.
Yes. Again, this is an item that you have seen previously. Our Unified Planning Work Program Amendment number 2 just came back from public comment. We did not receive any public comments on this document, which was not terribly surprising considering we just approved an update and then we made this change. And again, this change was in large part to detail out those projects that PPACG is hopefully going to complete using our toll credit money through CDOT. And what we're looking for at this time is if you have any questions, of course, we'd be happy to answer them. But what we're looking for is a recommendation to the board to go ahead and approve this amendment to the UPWP.
Mr. Chair, this is Gail Sturdivant. I recommend approval of the UPWP as presented.
Thank you, Gail. Do we have a second?
Ben Schmidt, I second.
Thanks, Ben. We have a motion on a second on the floor. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the motion as Gail mentioned, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed, please say nay. Okay, motion passes. Thanks, Danelle. Looks like you get to keep going.
I do. One more document. Again, you saw this a couple of months ago. We actually did a workshop with the TAC a few months ago to talk in particular about the scoring and some of the corridor definitions defined in the congestion management process. This document went out for public comment. That public comment period ended November 12th. And again, we did not receive any public comments. We did integrate some minor changes that we and this was done prior to it going out for public comment, but we did take into account some comments made through the committee process through TAC and CAC and board and made sure those were addressed. But at this point, we are again happy to answer questions, but we're seeking a recommendation to the board to approve the congestion management process. And doing so will allow us to move forward in the long-range transportation plan process.
Before we move that to a vote, Danelle, we're discussing it. I think I asked this last time. Did you guys prepare this entire document in-house?
Yes. Well, no. the congestion management process, no. We did have a consultant that helped us with some of this content and some of the layout for this document as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I continue to think it's pretty well done. So my compliments to you all.
Mr. Chair, this is Gail Sturdivant. I wanted to thank Danielle and the others at PPACG for putting this together like you. I think it looks great. I really appreciate the efforts that were put forth in that workshop that helped clarify a bunch of questions that came up in the review. So thank you for that. And then when there's no further comment, I would like to move approval of the congestion management process. Yeah.
Okay, so Gail, hold that thought for 1 second, like you said. So any other comment on what Danelle presented? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the congestion management process. Do we have a second?
This is Brian. I'll second.
We have a second from Brian. Thank you. Any other discussion on this topic? All right, all those in favor of approving the congestion management process, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed, please say nay. All right, motion passes. Thank you, Danelle. Danelle, you're 3 for 3.
That's good. And I get to take a break from talking now, so it's great.
Okay, now let's transition into some of our standing informational items. We always offer CDOT an opportunity to just present whatever they have. So CDOT, do you guys have any updates for us that we haven't already discussed?
Hi,
I
this
have
is.
one.
Oh, good. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll go last.
Just wanted to say that we are continuing to look for some employees. We are looking for a freight planner, 2 part-time positions for the Revitalizing Main Streets program. We also, the Revitalizing Main Streets program is taking a break. People can still submit applications during the break. They're taking a break in December and January, and we'll start up again in February of 23. We are also going to be discussing TAP at the next STAC meeting, so that will be of interest to folks. And that's all I can think of to announce right now. Also Andy Carcian, I think they did mention that earlier, that he is leaving CDOT to join the Front Range Rail program. And Rich Zamora is also retiring. So the Transportation Commission today honored him greatly for all his good work at CDOT. So that's all I have to say. And we're definitely going to miss Richard and maybe some others.
When is his last day, Richards?
I believe it's the end of November.
Okay.
Is that right, Wendy?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Kathleen. Wendy, your turn.
Or Danelle, I'm sorry, Danelle, Jeff or Lachelle, do you have anything else we need to cover first?
I don't have anything, Wendy. Thank you.
Okay. Jeff?
No, thanks, Wendy.
Okay. So I guess I have the biggie then. So I submitted my papers to retire, and my last day will be in January, the 31st.
Congratulations.
I move denial.
Kathleen, I second the denial.
Well, you're not the only one. I mean, I've been getting that for the last couple of days now all over the place. So I appreciate the fact that you all have such faith in my abilities, but just remember, everybody's replaceable. And whoever they bring to sit in the chair after I'm gone, make sure you give them a proper shake at the job and give them a chance to grow, because at some point in time I was that person too, and look at what I was able to do with the patience and the ability with all of you to help me grow into the job that I have now. So I can only tell you how much I appreciate the patience and the work that we've done together over the years.
Wendy, I can't thank you enough for all of the work that you've done over the decades that, you know, you and I have been working together, and you for longer than me here in this area. I can't even put together a number on the times that you helped straighten out funding for us, how you made sure that the tip always balanced, how many times you were able to move money around so that we could keep our projects going. Your input and your work in this region has been absolutely invaluable. And we are going to completely miss having you around to help us, to guide us, and to fix our projects. So I wish you well. And I hope that we still have a chance to meet up after you are retired. But your presence in this region is absolutely going to be missed. But I congratulate you and wish you well.
Well, thank you for the kind words, and thank you for the send off. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Wendy, I just want to echo the comments that we stand on the shoulders of giants, and I know that all my predecessors, especially Sally Riley, and the city of Woodland Park, really, really appreciate everything that you've done for us in that working relationship. We really value that, and hope you really enjoy retirement.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do at this point yet, but I don't think, I know for a fact that I'm not the type of person who can sit around at home and twiddle my thumbs. So there'll be something else somewhere. Just what it is yet, I don't know. Thank you.
Congratulations, Wendy. Very well deserved. I've really enjoyed working with you, both on this side and when I was at PPACG. And yeah, you'll be sorely missed, but congratulations. I'm really happy for you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And Wendy, we'll probably still see you at December's meeting.
Absolutely. And January.
And January. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to let me out of the chair until I have to slam the door and run out. You know how that's going to be.
Thank you, Wendy. Okay.
Sure.
Any other updates from CDOT? Okay. We also have a standing update about the IJA updates and other funding opportunities. Danelle, John, do you guys have anything that you want to update us from those?
We did leave it on the agenda, but there aren't any new funding opportunities that have opened. There was a release of a document that summarized or documented all of the projects that have gotten funding through the new IIJA programs, but that's the only new thing that I've seen in the past month.
And I will add that Andy did send an email to select folks. So I'm not sure if anyone else had seen this, that the DOLA is moving very close to finalizing the grant writer for all of the different cogs around the state. So hopefully, I think he said March. I could be, that's a little fuzzy, but we're looking at in the next couple of months that the funding will come through. It'll be up to the different cog if they want to bring in a full-time employee, a part-time employee, or do it via contract. So I know Andy's still struggling with all that, but hopefully we'll have some grant writing assistance available through PPACG in the next couple of months.
Okay, thank you. Looks like we have a CDOT presentation here by David Swanka, who has been on the call this whole time. So David, thank you for your patience.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, so before I start, just talking about funding opportunities, I'm the statewide CDOT administrator for the Highway Safety Improvement Program, and every year we have a solicitation for local agency projects, and it's on a year cycle, and we plan to continue that, and we'll be issuing that notice of funding opportunity sometime next month, and you'll have a couple months to submit your application to Region 2. So just wanted to mention that really quickly. But what I was here for is to talk about the safety performance targets set for calendar year 23, not exactly calendar year 23, it's more the 5-year average covering 2019 through 23. So 6 months ago, we went through this process as we do every year, as we have to submit these numbers on our highway safety improvement annual report in August, and here's the numbers that we did submit during that time. And the NPOs get another 6 months to submit their targets or to go along with the state targets. But I wanted to show you what we set and how we set it, and take any questions regarding any questions about the trends and what we're seeing in the data. So here we see that we set our 5-year averages at 668, a fatality rate of 1.262 fatalities per 100 million vehicle miles traveled. That's what the MVMT stands for. Serious injuries at 3,041, serious injury rates at 5.794, and the number of non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries, and these are crashes involving pedestrians or bicyclists, at 548. And on the right there, you can see just for the single year, calendar year 2021, of what those numbers were. 691 fatalities with a fatality rate 1.28, serious injuries near 3,400, and a rate near 6.3, and the non-motorized fatal and serious injuries at 588. So what we're seeing in the trends here, go ahead to the next slide if you would, thanks. So how we set our targets is we use a exponential smoothing model, but for the fatalities, you really don't need a model to show you the trend is going up. And it just goes through 2021, and looking at the 2022 numbers, we're approaching 700 really quick, and we'll probably be over 700. And that's what the prediction model did show us when we did this 6 months ago. And we're on track with that. So unfortunately, things aren't really getting better by that account. And how we set our targets was factoring that, yes, things are continuing to go up, and we factored that into how we set our targets. Go ahead to the next slide, please. So here we have serious injuries, which is less definitive of a trend over the last 10 years. It's, for a while there it is pretty steady and even declining a little bit, but now it seems to be on the rebound. I don't see it getting any better for what preliminary data we have for 2022. It seems like it's set on that course to be 3,000 plus. So again, the goals that we set in the performance doesn't reflect the hard, sharp incline that we're seeing with fatalities, but at the same time, we're not really seeing it getting better either. Go ahead, next slide. And this last sheet just shows you the trends over the last from 2019 to 2021. And I know that 2020, the pandemic here, was a little bit of a hiccup. And even though fatalities did increase slightly there, we saw most of the damage between the jump between fatality rates and pedestrian crashes and motorcycle crashes jump between 2019 and 2020, and 2021 wasn't any better, although with the increased volumes returning that year, at least those numbers didn't get any worse, even though the overall total did go up. And for 2022, it's really more of the same, even to maybe a slightly higher degree, as again we're approaching, or expected to be over 700, and in possibly a 20-year high in those categories for fatalities. So overall, not great news, but really just to show you what's going on and what our thought process was in setting these targets. So with that, is there any comments or questions?
I don't see any hands up. I will just note for PPACG, thank you, David, for coming and talking to us today. And as David mentioned, we will need to, as the MPO, either develop our own or support CDOT's targets. And my understanding is that in the past, we have always supported CDOT's targets. And I believe that will be the staff recommendation to TAC and the committees in the coming months as well.
Great. Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to present on this. It's always nice to share it with the MPOs and take questions and get to know you all.
Thank you, David. Okay, thanks, David. Moving on to our final item on the agenda. Looks like Will's going to give us a little information on the traffic data acquisition.
Yes, hello. I just wanted to give an update to the TAC. We received 3 proposals in response to our RFP for a traffic data service. We have representatives from Colorado Springs, Manitou Springs, and El Paso County willing to be on the selection committee with just 3 proposals, and our selection process is very simple. We'll have all that information out to the selection committee likely by the end of business today, so they can start reviewing them and scoring the proposals. With any luck, we might have a selection done hopefully even before everybody leaves for Thanksgiving, since we only have 3 to review. But if anybody on the TAC is interested in being part of that selection committee, please let me know. I'd be happy to include you. The more the merrier. Again, there's only 3 proposals. We have a very simple process. You simply look at all 3. We have 6 criteria to evaluate them on. You score them, and then we will have 1 meeting to review everybody's score and see if we have a clear selection. Assuming we don't need any follow-up interviews, this should go pretty smoothly. So if anybody's interested in being part of that selection committee to choose the regional traffic data service that would replace our existing streetlight contract, please let me know. We'd happy to include you in that process. Are there any questions from the committee?
Well, this is Gail Sturdivant. I would be interested in sitting on that committee, in particular, since the city is contributing some of the funds going towards this purchase.
Sounds good. Just be advised, we do have somebody from Colorado Springs, but I'm happy to include you as well. Like I said,
who do you have from Colorado Springs ready? Is somebody from our traffic division?
It's Colleen.
It is Colleen.
Okay, I will defer to Colleen.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that their interests were represented. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Will, thanks. I look forward to seeing those proposals. Okay. Any member entity announcements that you would like to share? Okay. Any items for future TAC meetings?
Just really quickly, I will note that any final applications for our existing notice of funding availability are due the 21st. If you haven't submitted those already. A doodle poll did go out to the TAC members to try to find a suitable date for a selection workshop. If you haven't filled that out, please do so. If you can't find the link, let me know, and I will send that to you, and I will get that set up shortly, so that hopefully we can get that money awarded and through the committee process.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you to our new officers. And if nothing else needs to be discussed, let's adjourn this meeting.